Eric, thank you. For more on this now, we're going to bring in Alex Little. He is a former prosecutor and a former assistant U.S. attorney. So let's jump right in, Alex.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. What could information provided by a second whistleblower do to accelerate or derail the impeachment inquiry train?
I think the issue with the second whistleblower is more that people in the administration who want to talk out about this issue are seeking protection before they do so. One of the reasons you seek whistleblower status is because it protects you against retaliation. What we've seen from President Trump is that he has tried to retaliate against the whistleblower, reveal his or her identity, say things about their patriotism. So I suspect what this means is more people are going to seek those sorts of protections as they speak out against the president.
So it's more about protection, doesn't necessarily point to anything more potentially untoward on anyone's part.
I don't think it does. What we've seen in the reporting is that this person that knows about the same incident has the same sorts of knowledge, perhaps from a more firsthand vantage point.
And speaking of that, what is your take on direct information versus secondhand information?
You know, that may have been an issue 3 days ago or 4 days ago when the White House released the transcript, or at least the partial transcript, and still it's notable they haven't given us the word-for-word transcript. That call summary essentially corroborated everything the first whistleblower said. So, when we're talking about the process points, that's what Republicans and defenders of the president want to do. They don't want to focus on the issues. And, even in the last hour, the focus has been on these process points and not on what's actually happening. And the accusation here is incredibly grave, that the president of the United States used his office to seek foreign help to defeat or to harm a domestic political adversary. You've not heard a single Republican, or at least a handful of Republicans, who are willing to defend that sorts of behavior. And as the inquiry begins to focus on that more, it's going to be a lot of trouble for the president.
Alex, is there anything to infer that a second whistleblower is offering up concerning information? I mean, as a criminal defense lawyer, how might this look for the defendant, which in this case is President Trump?
Well, look, everybody who's willing to come forward and testify against the president is going to be a problem for the president. Even Ambassador Volker and his willingness to testify before the congressional committees last week, I think is a bad sign for the president. You're going to see more and more people, and as you do, the witness list stacks up against him. That's going to embolden other people. You see this in criminal cases and criminal investigations all the time. There's going to be a sort of snowball effect where more and more people are willing to talk about the president's behavior. And if that happens, the evidence is going to stack up higher and higher.
But does the evidence provided by each of these potential whistleblowers have to corroborate each other?
No, I suspect there's going to be different pieces. I mean, if they undermine each other, that's a problem. But I think what you're going to see is that they're going to build a stronger case. Even from the documents, it seems pretty clear with Ukraine what the president was doing. And he was seeking through these sort of threats to the Ukrainian government about meeting with him or not meeting with him or providing aid or not to get them to do what he wants, which was to make a statement about Vice President Biden.
Can you clear up for us the legal protocol or steps that a whistleblower must take? I mean, and is it illegal or untoward for House Intel Chair Adam Schiff to provide boilerplate direction to a would-be whistleblower?
No, not at all. In fact, the whistleblower statute is very particular about who and how you provide that information. And so if a potential whistleblower came forward to a member of Congress or even anybody within their agency, whether it's CIA or the White House, they would be told and should be told that if you want whistleblower status, you need to take these specific steps. And so that's proper. If either side of the aisle, if staffers gave that information to a potential whistleblower, it's how it's supposed to be done. If you go to the if you go to the whistleblower's website for the intelligence community, it has a similar sort of guidance about what you need to do to be protected. So there's nothing untoward about that, and it's basically what the process expects of people in positions of power.
Secretary of State Pompeo missed yesterday's deadline to provide the trio of congressional House committees with documents requested by way of subpoena. However, the secretary is in touch with those committees and saying that documents are forthcoming. So does it pique your legal or criminal curiosity that the administration is taking its time producing these documents, or does what could appear as a stall tactic be perfectly fine as they sift through or strike or redact portions that could risk national security? Or does the latter matter because the information is going to Congress?
The latter is not going to matter. Congress is going to be able to have access to classified information. The question is more, how do these two parties sort of learn to interact with each other. This is not going to be the last subpoena. There's going to be more. What I think you see is there are people at the State Department, people in the National Security Council who are not prepared for an impeachment fight. They have no idea how their superiors and the president wants them to respond. So I think this initial period of delay is just figuring out what the rules of the game are going to be. You know, if you look at the last two impeachment inquiries, whether it's President Clinton or President Nixon, there was a great deal of negotiation about how things were going to proceed. I think you're going to see that. The overlay here, though, is that everything about this administration is chaotic and off the cuff. You know, the president may tweet one thing that is against what he's told his subordinates the day before, and things will change. So the people and the lawyers in the State Department are in a really delicate position, and my guess is they're just trying to do the best job they can.
But is that sort of the point? Throw up a bunch of balls if you're trying to follow one bouncing ball. You know, you throw up a bunch of balls, you don't know where to look. Is that going to trip up the...
Oh, that... Absolutely. I mean, I think that if the State Department feels like it's more beneficial to throw documents at Congress and sort of hide the most important one in the haystack, that sort of thing happens all the time. I think congressional investigators will be more detailed about what they're looking for, and they're going to begin to narrow in on a few very specific incidents.
All right, Alex Little, we will leave it there for now. I'm sure we will speak to you again very soon as this continues. Thanks, Alex.
Thank you.
And by the way, there will be more reaction tomorrow on Sunday Morning Futures. Maria Bartiromo has an exclusive...